Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of In Conversation With. This is actually our sixth episode. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Suzanne Daniels. I am the host and co-founder of In Conversation With. I am a life coach for women in business, and I help female entrepreneurs work through the mindset blocks and business blocks so that they can reach the next level through my coaching programs. You will see on the ticker board, I've said my registration for the group coaching program is now open. It's a monthly coaching program. Well, it's a month-to-month coaching program, and at the moment we are dealing with business planning and strategies in the weekly classes and programs. So if you need any information on how that is run, please send me a DM and I will be in contact. I'm just trying to set this up. So if you put your comments, please, and you have not consented to StreamYard showing me your name and stuff, then please tell me where you are from and who you are, and then I can recognize you properly. Today I don't have a guest. I thought I would talk a little bit about how the show came about. Firstly, it started as a very casual conversation, and hence it's called In Conversation With a friend and coach of mine. And due to its reception, I decided to carry on. So it starts every Tuesday. We are now in our 6th week. I have put out in various Facebook groups requests for people who would like to participate. I'm looking for ordinary women who do extraordinary things. It is about showcasing what good is happening around us in our communities and in our country, and especially during this time of uncertainty. I would like to spread some hope and optimism through showcasing and giving women a platform to speak about the issues that face them. And they're not all negative. There are lots of women doing positive things. Thank you for the women who have sent me their details. I am working through it. It was a bit overwhelming at the response that I have. So I'm very glad to say that I will have lots of episodes to come. So that's the exciting bit. Another project that I am working on is a book project. I want to have 100 women across the world writing a chapter in a book. And so far we have 20 people. The chapter is about, you can write about your story, your transformation during this time or any other particular time in your life. Try to focus on COVID-19 and the issues that women have faced and are continuing to face around that. So if you'd like to join, please do. Once again, just DM me and I will send you the information. So those are the programs that we are busy with at the moment. What I wanted to chat to people about today was the real impact that Corona has had on our lives, and more particularly on the manner in which we conduct our businesses. Because I work with female entrepreneurs, I am focusing today on what the impact of Corona has been in the working environment. So it's very important, even if it hasn't had a direct impact on you, which I severely doubt. It is very important for you to know what is happening in the broader ecosystem that you operate in. And we have seen with lockdown 3, just implemented yesterday, there is a myriad of regulations, often confusing and often conflicting. So hopefully if you find this useful, we can have a chat afterwards about all these things. but I will just take you through about 10 trends that I've picked up that I think will have an impact on how we do business now and going forward. Okay. I think the first trend that I'm picking up is that people are going to change their hobbies into actual work. We've seen that the sewing industry, the masks industry, the embroidery industry has come back with the fashion, with the passion. Sorry, there has been emphasis on branded goods, so and more customized goods. So that little industry is booming. I think there are also new entrants into the market. People have reconsidered the way that they work. So I think the big question for entrepreneurs is, in this growing market, how do you differentiate yourself? I think the second trend that we've picked up lately is that people are switching professions. There is greater emphasis or greater thought, having spent this time at home. There are the threats of loss of jobs, retrenchment, companies closing down. There was a rather horrifying statistic yesterday from the National Treasury about 1.8 million jobs being lost. So we are going to have a space where, and these are not only ordinary workers, these are professionals, management staff. So we are looking at a growing sector that has been suddenly becomes unemployed. And I think it's time that people start looking at what is it that they can do with a bunch of skills that they do have. We should bear in mind, sorry, I'm just moving the screen. We should bear in mind that each of us has transferable skills. So we need to be able to look at our skills and see where it is that we can use. Some of us who still have a job might now have realized that we really are stuck in a job that we don't really like or want to do, but because there was no other option, we have stuck in it. And we might be making plans to leave your job at some particular point in time. Just know that your skills are transferable and you need to look at where you can use your skills best. I think now that one has had the time to look at that, you need to understand what it is that you want to do. And I think most people and the clients that I've been dealing with have realized that life is actually not that certain, and they would like to be a little bit more flexible around what they do. Obviously, that is more challenging in the current economic climate here in South Africa. So one has to be like really clear on what you want to do, how you want to do it, and where do you want to take it. But there's no time like now to use that opportunity. I think I've alluded to this. There's been a lot of regulatory matters being brought to the fore. We have the issuing of regulations on a weekly basis, I think it is. I certainly can't keep up as a lawyer. It is really difficult to read through all of those things and actually just stay on top of it. But I think that's the new reality we're going to face, is that our environments are going to become more heavily regulated. And yes, people may argue that it's unconstitutional, it is this, and there are obviously going to be legal challenges where necessary or where people think appropriate. But I think the bottom line is that people will have to accept that we are going to be living in a more regulated society for the reasonably foreseeable future. We as business owners need to assess what that increased regulation means for our business. In terms of health and safety, those are uppermost in mind. About the kinds of goods that you can sell, those are the other things. The South African government has spoken about the opening up of the economy, although it is still in its infancy phase right now. I think we're going to see a lot more circumspection around how fast goods are going to become available again, and in what form they are going to become available. The onus on employers and running of warehouses and those kinds of things are also going to be heavily regulated. So I think as a business owner, it is very important that you assess that environment and where you are placed and what your responsibilities are. Even if you do work from home, I think the increase in internet security, cybercrime, those kinds of things, those need to be looked at. And, we have to make sure that we have the right security protocols in place to work from home. I think that has been a challenge for companies that have the employees working from home. So likewise, in the small business environment, you will have that challenge because of the protection of information that you need to be guarded against. So I think that's very important. I think another trend that we're picking up on is that companies are going to be focusing more on being sustainable rather than growing, so that they can survive this period if they are still in business. So you will find that the focus will change not from growing in terms of growing of profits, growing of people. They will look at what makes their company sustainable. Classic examples have been the McDonald's, who started making food for those at risk, both here and worldwide. I think that has been very important. Companies like Louis Vuitton, who started focusing on producing masks and things like that. And so there have been sort of these global companies who have changed the manner in which they view their businesses and the long-term sustainability thereof. Okay, I think the type of business, another trend that we're picking up, the type of business that is going to really suffer in the next while is those that rely on foot traffic. You know, shops and retail stores in malls, who rely on people walking past and those kinds of things, are actually going to have to be really, really inventive about how they attract customers. I think from a small business perspective, you need to now think about how are you going to reach people in their homes. I'm thinking of, consumer behavior. People are really hesitant to leave their homes unless really necessary. The increase in online shopping, online activity is there, and one needs to be positioning to take advantage of those things. I think that's very important. We have to accept that even though we have contrary indications in South Africa, I think people are not going to rush out of their houses very easily. So there are pockets where that's not happening, but I mean, I think overall the consumer, the responsible consumer will not leave his or her home very easily. So one has to look at how are you going to reach those consumers. I think that's important. Another trend that we've picked up is, the loyalties of employees. Companies who have treated the employees quite badly during this time of COVID and lockdown, and continue to do so, will actually suffer the brunt. There will not be that amount of loyalty that you require. So if you're expecting people to hang around, I think employers, you need to wake up. There's been a lot of layoffs during lockdown, reduced salaries, short time, all those things. And if those have not been communicated in a responsible fashion and transparent fashion, I think employers should start looking at the concern that they might not be able to hang on to their top talent anymore. People will go for greener pastures, or if they are compelled to stay because of financial reasons, they will not forget how they've been treated. So the loyalty factor actually will be affected, in my view. I think Another trend, and I think this is the seventh one that I've picked up, is that conventional businesses are going to have to go online in some form or the other. Real estate. What else is there that I can think of? Recruitment has already been done online. Um, the increase of virtual offices, virtual working spaces. My partner and I work in a virtual working space almost every day. So getting used to that dynamic is also important. Getting workers motivated and productive in those kinds of areas are also what one needs to keep going. Um, I think that will become the new norm, these online experiences. So, as small businesses, you need to look at how is that going to affect how you do business. I think another one is that online spending habits are going to change. I know that people have had the hesitancy of shopping online, but I think that is going to become the new norm, as people say. It is going to change the way that people buy. It is going to change the way that people spend, and in which areas they kind of spend. So I think, given all of this, the regulatory issues, the changing landscape, almost on a weekly basis, I think the cost of doing business is going to go up, making the online business a lot more attractive, and not necessarily. I think people have to weigh up the costs involved. Internet security is very important. How you get your goods to your customer is going to be extremely important. Um, what kinds of returns policies you have in place? That's a recent consideration that we have to make in terms of, now that the customer cannot tangibly feel and see the goods, what kinds of returns policies are you going to be able to put in place to make sure that if they are not satisfied, they can return the good? So you have to accommodate those kinds of things. I think also in the physical business environment, the spaces need to be adapted so that they can accommodate the social distancing rules. So you can already see the type of behavior in terms of walking down a grocery corridor, window shopping, those kinds of things are all going to change for people in this new COVID area. So um, I think one of the questions you might be asking is, Susanna, how do you know these things? As a coach, I have had to look at how people have responded in the past to these things, also reading and keeping up to date with how people are responding right now and making certain predictions. These trends that I'm picking up from reading and from listening to other gurus in the areas of expertise is not cast in stone, because we do not have a crystal ball. But what we do know is that we can base it on present behavior and past behavior, and make certain predictions. Obviously, in your business, you would have to have the flexibility to change and to make these adaptations. As I said to you, in our own context, regulations and briefings, etc., happen on a weekly basis, if not daily. For instance, the health minister makes those daily briefings in the evening. So you can imagine that anyone operating in the health and medical supply sector would have to be very aware of what's happening and adapt their business on a daily basis. So those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about. It may not affect you directly in your day-to-day business, but you need to be aware in the broader sense, because it affects the customers and the people who you need to reach out to. So for any entrepreneur, those kinds of considerations are quite important. I think goods might not be the, what's the word? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought here because there was a glitch in the broadcast. Things like Amazon and Takealot might not be the preferred delivery mechanisms. We've had lots of courier companies downsize, reprioritize, and some goods have not been on their priority list, causing delays. And in those cases, the owners would have had to make alternative delivery arrangements. So that's another dynamic that is building up. Your product might not be high on the priority list. So you have to then get some alternative delivery mechanisms in place. I think the last but not least is that the cost of digital business is definitely going to come down in certain ways, because obviously you don't need that huge infrastructure if you're starting your business as a sole entrepreneur. But there are certain costs that you need to keep in mind, is like the internet, the infrastructure to be secure. So I think those are the kinds of trends that I've picked up in this COVID period. And I thought I would share it with you this week. So it's basically been a conversation with you about business, about how you view your business. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them below and I'll come and answer them. I also have a group called Self Empowerment with Suzanne, where we post issues and where we look at empowering female entrepreneurs. And then, as I said, I have a customized group coaching program, which you are welcome to DM me and get more details about. It's a monthly subscription program, so it's ideal for entrepreneurs wanting to take their business to the next level in this very uncertain period. So I hope you have found value. I was glad to spend this time with you. And I will see you next week, where we will resume with our guests and have conversations with various people on various issues. Thank you, Emma, for saying love this. I didn't know that you'd be watching, but thank you very much. And obviously, we will see you next time when we'll get back to the original format. So thank you for all the support so far. I've really enjoyed putting together these programs, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.